Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Whole Bean Podcast. Coming at you live with the most caffeinated talks we could possibly imagine. You may be wondering, who's this new voice coming over the airwaves? Well, lucky me, I've been asked to help with the production and have been asked to take over as creative lead. Name's Riley Scrivner. Hope I do well. Hope y'all enjoy what we have to give you. With me here is original host, David Meusch.
Hello, I'm Dave. We went ahead and asked Riley to produce the podcast because we're going to be doing other things with Aluth and with the coffee stuff. So I'm going to be probably making more videos and uploading to the YouTube channel, just different formats, and then Riley will take over with the podcast, and so he's going to be the main host. Last podcast, it was me and Riley also, but a different Riley. So my girlfriend is named Riley, and she's our media manager, our media lead. She's in charge of all media, basically, so anything that, we do creatively basically goes through her, unless, Riley's the producer, so Riley and I decided to have Riley be the producer, and now Riley's in charge of this, but
There's a lot of Riley going around.
A lot of
I hope
Riley.
you caught that.
But, yeah, what I do is basically, try to wrangle everything up, come up with ideas, acquire equipment, make sure that we are signed up and show up to events, and right now I'm the main producer and roaster of the coffee. So we have a few leads and are making a few sales, and I'm kind of the one who's doing that right now. And our goal is to have some of our other, like Riley here, this Riley, learn.
Hello.
We roasted coffee together, so I'm confident if we get a setup for him to roast coffee here, then he could do it. So the goal is to have more people equipped and well trained to do it, to know the difference between light roast, dark roast, medium roast, and to roast the coffee. But right now, we're trying to get our media stuff in line so when people look us up, they can find us. But do you want to talk? Do you have anything else to talk about? I kind of want to roll right on into the festival that we just did.
No, you pretty much covered it. Yeah.
So first of all, the camera's rolling.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I just wanted to. Oh no, Riley, get in the camera.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, cool. Oh, you're good.
We're good.
Okay, cool. So
I'll put it back on the audio.
if you listen to the last video, or the first podcast, that was before the festival. So we had an Earth Day festival, right? And I kind of want to cover that. Basically, everything that was said in that podcast has changed now. It's completely changed just because life happens.
Right.
But it was a success. Riley came to Columbia.
It was so cool.
And we roasted a bunch of coffee and got stuff ready. I basically donated all of my house plants to sell at the Earth Day Festival, which honestly paid for a lot of it. The other Riley, my girlfriend Riley, she spent about $60 going into it. I spent about $130 or $230, I think, going into it. So we had about $300 invested in the company at that point. So we were in the red. And over that one weekend, we made $500, and we were able to pay ourselves $10 each that day.
So cool.
Which, now we're in the green, and we have funds to use. So that's awesome. We don't have to use our own money anymore. We got to be strategic on where we use that money, but
we're making company money now.
Yeah, using company money now, which is really fun and really cool. So that's one thing that I'm super excited about. What was one thing that was most fun about that day for you?
Oh my gosh. So I've never done festivals and stuff. So even just participating in it a little bit. I mean, there was band, so there was the parades that we did, but actually sitting down and like seeing 220 plus vendors and thousands of people walking by and like being like, oh hey, look at this cool little shop. Oh, look at this, look at this. Like that was just such a rewarding experience. Just in and of itself, like just hanging out with people, selling them some knickknacks and stuff, hanging out, just having a good time. Roasting the coffee was a lot of fun, even if it was a time-intensive process.
That was a journey. We were, basically, we sell 12-ounce bags, and 1 pound of green coffee beans roasts down into about 12 ounces, and we were roasting. In our machine, we were roasting about half a pound at a time, and it took us about an hour per bag.
Yeah.
So we only were able to produce 5 bags, but they sold out. So they sold out. We have some customers that asked for ground coffee, which we might do, and then I have a few bags that I need to. I still have to roast another batch for these new leads. And we've got a few friends that didn't show up to the festival, and when they found out that we did so well, they were like, oh man, let me buy some, which was funny because they had that like real skeptical, like, oh, like we'll see if you guys do good. They didn't really expect us to do good.
Right, hadn't like bought in yet.
And honestly, we almost sold out.
Yeah.
Like we showed up with 2 carfuls and we left with like half a carful.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
We had the 2 tables, all the plants, the 5 bags of coffee, the shirts and everything, and multiple times we were commenting about like once stuff got sold out, like, man, our table's kind of pitiful. We need to condense here. We need to make it look. We need to make it look, nicer. People bought stuff. People bought so much stuff. I just crazy. I think we all went in with low expectations, and I think that's fair. But like, man, we cannot go in with low expectations because that was people. The foot traffic alone was, I think, sold a lot of stuff.
I think the circumstances were just perfect.
Yeah.
Because it was Earth Day, so the plants were going to sell. And then people like local stuff, so the coffee was interesting. And we were in the perfect place in the festival for people to buy our plants first. We were one of the first plant vendors. And so we basically went home. We had a box of T-shirts. We brought our brewing stuff or our roasting stuff and grinding equipment just in case we had electricity, because then we just do it there. But we didn't have electricity, so we couldn't do that. So we had all this gear there, which was a lot of our stuff. And so when we left, we took all our gear. We had a box of T-shirts. We sold 2 T-shirts, which I don't blame people not buying T-shirts because they don't know who we are yet.
We're not a very well-established brand just quite yet. But
they bought 2 T-shirts, and then we brought home 4 plants out of like 2 tablefuls of plants.
Yeah.
So that was awesome, and it was great. Yeah. Just all around, just super fun.
And we didn't have any of like the big plants left over either.
It was one.
Was there? Oh yeah, because the fern didn't sell.
The fern didn't sell.
It was just the fern, and then there was like 6 like succulents.
Yeah.
There was an aloe plant and a couple others that like didn't sell, but all the big ones went real fast.
Right, and it was and Riley was playing guitar. I brought my banjo.
I made my first money busking that day. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was funny because he was just like playing and singing, and then some kid came up and like threw a few quarters at him, and we were like, "Open your case, you're busking."
So I wasn't busking before, but now I am.
It's pretty good. And some like journalism girls were taking pictures of him and everything. It was pretty cool. It was really fun, and I was able to like tell people how to take care of these plants. We kind of discovered this model of like pairing. I think we're going to, from now on, pair our coffee with houseplants just because that's what we're good at, and it's just nice. And I think because if we did this at a farmer's market, it would be completely different.
Oh yeah.
Everyone would be in a different mindset going into it. So I think pivoting forwards, I mean, we should plan on doing it next year too, the Earth Day Festival in Columbia. But pivoting forwards, going to different pop-up shops, we should, I don't know, be really aware of our inventory and take a mental note of what we do sell in that certain, like, let's say the Rolla Farmers Market. If we have a good amount of plants, like a table full of plants, and then we also have our coffee. And the good thing about the Rolla Farmers Market is we can plug up. We can bring an extension cord, and we can roast coffee
and
there.
have everything ready to go to keep doing more.
Yeah, and so that would smell great, and I feel like people would love that. People would be into that. So
Sure. People love. I think so, especially for like coffee shops and stuff. I think a big part of the appeal. Like I was just at the Giddy Goat earlier today, and like even them just mixing the nuclear waste, which is just like chocolate and syrup and milk and stuff, and they weigh it all out and pump it in the thing, and they just shake it up. It's not really all that interesting to watch when I say it like that, but like working there and then seeing new people do that there too is like, it's just cool. People like seeing, cool coffee art. They like seeing people make their espressos and everything. And especially for roasting, which is the thing that you usually never see happening. It's in the bag or it's ground and it's ready to go. To smell it and to see it and to get to like see behind the curtain on the process is just like engagement I think people are dying to have.
yeah, I feel like we've really specialized in that side, in the roasting. I know a good percentage, including Riley. Both Rileys were baristas, so they know like the brewing and the
certified tamper over here, baby.
Yeah, the brewing and the crafting aspect of it. I'm not a huge. I don't know. I hate to say it. I don't think I'm a huge coffee drinker. I used to be, but I don't know enough about it. I'm not picky, so I'll drink black coffee on ice and just not even think about the flavor. I just like it bitter. Like, you know what I mean?
That's fair.
I'm not like I'm a beer guy and I understand all the flavors and stuff.
Right.
And I'm just not there yet with coffee. But I really do love to roast it, and I like the nuance, skill, and how do you say, like, technique behind it, of the learning curve and everything, which was a learning curve when Riley and I were when we roasted for that festival. Took us a while. It took us probably an hour before we got our our feet wet. It took us a long time. So, and our first few batches were kind of, I feel like, over roasted, which it will happen.
That one was.
Yeah.
I think the second bag was.
It'll happen. We were like talking about something.
Yeah.
And then it got out of hand.
It was our second roast.
The thing is with coffee, so there's first crack and second crack. And if you want a light roast, you basically take it off right before first crack. So if you hear your beans crack, you turn off the heat and take the beans off. And then second crack, medium roast, it's like the time between first crack and second crack. So based on how you want to do it, you could take them off at the end of first crack, or you can take them off at the beginning of second crack, because then you'll get like either a dark medium or like a light medium, right? So there's that scale there. We did a kind of a dark medium because I feel like people like that more. People usually always go for a dark roast. So we went until we heard that second crack and we pulled it out.
That's interesting that you said that you think most people go for a dark roast. I would agree. But I think that's interesting that you say that not having experience in a coffee shop. Because, like, I feel like most people, when you say dark roast, like, most people don't like the taste of bitter coffee just right off the bat. I think most people think of coffee and, like, you got to cut it with cream or milk or something, anything, right? It's an ingredient to the drink. But dark roasts, especially in mixed drinks with espresso, is fantastic. You're always going to want to use a dark roast for your espressos unless you're going for something specific. But even in your regular coffee, pour it in the pot. I think the dark roast is always the way to go. And I think most people will say that too, because even if you cut it, the flavors of the dark roast really bleed through, and medium roast kind of just gets diluted.
I feel like when people who don't have much experience, when they think about coffee, it's dark roast in their mind.
Right.
And when they have a light roast, it throws them off because it's kind of sour. It's got a lot more flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Because people will say it's floral and fruity and all this stuff. And when they say fruity, it's just kind of sour.
Yeah.
It almost tastes spoiled if you don't know what you're tasting. And so, like...
It's acrid.
Yeah.
It's very acrid.
It's acidic and whatever. So, yeah. So, when people think coffee, they probably are thinking about dark and bitter. Mm-hmm. And so when you do... Because a medium roast is something in between. So it's like you get a lot of flavor and, like, caramel notes and blah, blah, blah. But if you do a darker coffee... It's richer, more nutty, more chocolatey. Of course, it's bitter, and that's just what people think of. And so when you do a dark medium, you do get some of that nuanced, little tiny hints of flavor, but you also just get that classic bitter coffee that, like, Folgers, what people grew up with. You know what I mean?
It makes me cringe every time I hear it.
But people, that's what they know. And they
no offense if you like Folgers. Absolutely respect anybody's choice of cup of coffee, but
it's kind
working in a coffee shop ruined Folgers for me.
It's kind of the same way as not everyone's like a wine sommelier.
Yeah.
Like, people like wine, but they don't know, like, everything about it.
If you're a wine snob, you're going to go, oh, you took a drink out of that box of sangria? Ugh, how uncouth.
Right.
But, like... It's still wine.
It's still wine.
You can take it out the bag, slap it, and down it a whole night, and it tastes fine.
And what we've had kind of meetings with, like, people who've done coffee, like the gentleman that we talked to, Riley and I felt like I feel like we're more business minded because he put in hours perfecting the product and spent no time thinking about distribution and his audience, right? And so I feel like if we focus on the distribution, we can dial down the product as we go, and then that way we have criticism from our customers of, like, hey, could you do it this way? And then if we do, and we will try it, and it's better, right? And that way we can just, like, we can dial the product down. We don't need to have it perfect right off the bat, because what if we spend all that time perfecting it and we release it and no one likes it?
Right.
Then we got to do it all over again.
Yeah, we're just back to square one with a bunch of product that we can't sell.
Right. So marketing always comes first with any product, right?
Yeah.
Even like T-shirts. Mm-hmm. Like if your customers are like, "Oh, this is a shitty product," then you'd fix it. But if you make a really nice T-shirt that you love and a cut that you like, and you spent hours picking it, and you sell it, and then they're like, "Oh, we like a baggy fit," and then you're back to square one. Oh shit, I got to make more T-shirts. So
I didn't make any sweaters. I didn't make any hoodies.
Yeah. So it's like, well, now let's just square one. So we tried to. That's kind of, we jumped straight into the dark, basically into the deep end with the festival, which is great because it kind of opened my eyes, especially of like, okay, we have a customer base now. Mm-hmm. People know kind of who we are. We need to do better with social media, but once we get more people with their eyes on us, it'll just be easy. One thing we didn't do was put our social media on our labeling, which was a huge mistake, but that's okay. Like, it is what it is.
Well, now we know.
Yeah.
It's okay. The first 5 bags are freebies.
Yeah.
Well, once we get to number 6, though, it'll be professional all the way.
Yeah.
Those labels were really good.
Labels were good.
I know I told Riley she did a great job, but she really, really did a great job on those labels.
Yeah, the labels were good.
It was good.
So we're gonna do the podcast. We're still gonna try to sell physically. We're gonna try to get a website up, get our Instagram going. Probably a Facebook, probably a Twitter. I need to get a personal Twitter, honestly, and like treat it. I don't like Twitter.
Yeah, me neither.
So it's like, if I had one, it's just to promote all the like income streams I have.
I feel like it. Yeah, it's just all like announcements and updates and stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. And
yeah.
then, so yeah, we'll get caught up on the media side of things, but you were talking about the Giddy Goat. I think we should do a little like tour and interview about that coffee shop, because I feel like that would be, first of all, what coffee did you drink today?
So Giddy Goat's got this thing. It's called the Nuclear Waste. It's one of their more popular drinks. Personally, in my taste, best drinks, Nuclear Waste and a dirty chai. which is just a chai latte with 2 shots of espresso in it. For those of you who don't know, if you've never been to the Giddy Goat, the nuclear waste is it's basically like caffeinated chocolate milk. It's not.
That sounds yummy.
It's delicious. Oh my gosh, it is one of those things that is like, if the people who are working there don't get it in time and stuff, like it's out all the time, consistently.
I might have to go. I'm gonna get a drink on the way back to Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna stop by there and scout it out.
I love the coffee at the Giddy Goat. I truly do think it's the best coffee shop in town.
If I come back next weekend, would you like to shoot that video?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Also, something that I thought was pretty funny when I was there, when I was working there, I sort of started a trend there. They still have all those drawn cups that I was doing.
Yeah, I see them every time I go.
I didn't know, and they still have some of mine up there too.
Yeah,
which I thought
the
was
ones you sent me on Snapchat.
Yeah,
they're still there.
I took a couple home with me, and I didn't think they were gonna keep doing it. But like the whole crew has changed, and they're still doing it, and they still have.
It's good art.
It's good art, dude. Somebody drew Nightcrawler on this really tiny cup, and if you've ever had to freehand draw anything with a Sharpie, especially on a cup, it's rough. Like I traced a lot of images that I thought were just cool.
The curvature sucks.
Yeah, if you mess up, that's pretty much it. So. And then I remember getting yelled at because I used too many cups. I was drawing on too many of them. They're like, you can only use the outtakes.
Oh, no.
But some dude, he put shading and, like, it's this fantastic, like, image straight out of a comic book panel of Nightcrawler. And he put his Instagram handle on it. Insane. It's really cool. I wish more places did that.
Yeah.
I wish there was, like, a little more of an art scene to cafes, which seems like, oh, yeah, it's all artsy-fartsy. But it's, like, a vibe.
I think it's just this town. I mean, in Columbia, it's not very artsy-fartsy, I don't think. There's a few. I can't think of any off the top of my head, which is probably a good example of there not being a very artsy, scene.
Yeah.
But, like, I think the Giddy Goat is pretty good creativity-wise, just because it's so, like, everything in there looks like it was either bought at, like, Goodwill or picked up on Facebook Marketplace, and it's just really mismatched.
The Kramer Mafia photo just hanging up.
And there's just shit on the walls everywhere, and like just random art everywhere. It's just really cool to be in there, and I think that's a great, like, you want a cafe to be somewhere like you hang out at, not just I'm gonna get coffee and leave. You want to go there and hang out.
1 in a million idea. Giddy Goat, lightning in a bottle with this one. The coasters from all the other coffee shops everywhere that they have pinned up. That's so
they
cool.
have this little hallway that you walk to the bathroom, right? And it's like literally not out in the open. But when you walk to the bathroom, the whole wall of that hallway has coasters from like shitloads of coffee shops from all around the country,
everywhere,
just tacked onto the wall,
everywhere.
And it's really cool because no matter how long you look, you'll always find a new one.
And people write like messages and stuff on them too. So if you spend some time looking, you'll find some pretty incredible messages and stuff. And if you go there now, they don't have space on that wall anymore. They've started putting them on the pillar out in front too.
Oh, nice.
There's some along the pillar right in front of where you get your coffee at. So I remember when I was working there, it's like every couple of months somebody would come in and be like, "Hey, you want some coasters?" Yeah, sure, hang them up, dude. Go ahead.
That's awesome. So people bring them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People like the people who show up to the Giddy Goat too. Like, there's a lot of people who just come to cafes and be like, "Hey, you want this? Here's this random art thing." There was a guy who walked in and just gave us a bunch of stickers to put around the shop. And then he was like, "Oh, hey, you guys want some rings and stuff?" And we're like, "What?"
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, sure. Somebody drew up little like self-portraits of all the crew members there, and they have that hanging up inside the wall. There's a bunch of art stuff that people donate specifically to the crew at coffee shops. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But yeah, dude, all over the place.
Is their social media very good? Do you know? I mean, I feel like every time I look it up, it's not.
Their social media presence, as far as I'm aware, isn't all that great. Like, I never checked their Facebook page or anything for events and stuff, but in town, you know, it's one of 3 coffee shops, and it's usually the most popular one, so people will always, there's flyers and stuff, there's always events that they participate in.
I feel like that's missed out opportunity. I feel like if someone approached with the opportunity of, hey, let me manage your social media, that might be a job that, like, if they bring in more customers, the owner, I don't know anything. The only thing I know about the owner is they're pretty stingy. So they might not hire a social media manager if they don't see any, like, I don't know, improvement from having one. But something like that, like, why wouldn't you? You know? I feel like your community would be so much more engaging and so much bigger. Like, my parents, they own a farming thing, and they go to the farmer's market. They have this huge community, but it's all word of mouth basically. And if they had like an Instagram or even anything, if they had a Facebook or an Instagram where people could follow, I feel like it would just kind of blow up. And so the problem is with the farm thing, it's just local, right? So they can't really, like, they're not selling a product online. But with the Giddy Goat, I don't know, I feel like if do they have their own blends? Have their own beans?
Yes. Yeah, they have a dark roast that they've sold. But I don't remember it ever popping off. So we didn't usually have a lot in stock. But people did come and buy. We've had our own roast. The Giddy Goat has had its own roast for a while. But they usually sold other blends. I don't remember the main one that we use. But, yeah.
I feel like even if you're not selling something online, the appeal of having a physical store and people following that, even if they're not from town, like if they're from out of town, people will show up from out of town. Like, that's the beautiful part of putting all your shit online, is people who aren't in the community will know who you are, and you just have a way bigger presence than if you didn't. Like, imagine if you lived in a village and you talked to everyone in that village. Like, sure, you'd be popular in that village, but if you never left that village to become friends with people in other villages, then, like, you're so limited. Right?
Without the world of internet advertising,
right.
Outreach is so much harder.
And advertising right now is, like, can be free.
Oh, yeah.
Because advertising could just mean
content you produce.
Doing a YouTube reel once a day, or even, like, an Instagram post once a week. That's advertisement.
Yeah. Throw up I mean, once you have a community, but, like, post 100, 150 people, throw up a community post occasionally.
Yeah.
Something on YouTube. Do you like X roast better than X roast? Do you like X drink better than this drink?
Right.
Something like that. Quick video. Like, it really just, the occasional check-in and, like, community engagement, I thought originally that it would take so much, but especially with you doing your aquarium YouTube channel and with Eluth, like, it's crazy to see just how fast, once people know you're there, they'll flock to you.
I feel like it's just patience.
Yeah.
If you publish content, no matter what platform, consistently, and you're patient and you just keep doing it, success is inevitable. Because, like, I don't want to say I'm successful on my YouTube. I started a little over a month ago, and I have about 175 subscribers right now. But
nice.
Last week, like, literally, like, to the day, 7 days ago, my goal was 150. I hit that by the end of Sunday, and now it's Sunday today, and I've gained 25 followers on YouTube, right? And all I have to do is, like, sit and wait. But if I was impatient and I uploaded 2 videos and didn't get much traction and I get discouraged, then I would never be at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would never have gained all the traction I gained when, as if like I just treated it as if like I'm doing it for me. I'm not doing it for anyone else. And I feel like businesses should treat it as an investment like that, where it's like, okay, we did these community posts. No one saw them. But if you compile content, let's say you've posted for a span of a month or two, let's say 2 months of content, right? And let's say you have 10 pieces of content you published in 2 months. Now, that third month, people have 10 pieces that they'll stumble upon, plus the ones you do that third month. So who knows? Your engagement might explode that third month. And then if it doesn't, and now you have 15 pieces of content, you do 5 pieces a month, like that fourth month, there's an even bigger pile for people to stumble upon, and it's just exponential. Your growth will always be exponential. And I feel like it's just a good investment for a business to just like put as much as they can on the internet for people to see.
The internet knows that, especially YouTube is the place to be. Getting video content out there is super, super important. And here's the thing: is when people first start talking about YouTube, you're like, oh, post however many videos, and then you pop off. And the exponential in their mind is like 0 to 100, going from, in like a week or two, going from 100 subscribers to 1 million. And that can happen. It has happened before. But usually with meteoric rises, there's meteoric falls.
Right, it's not very realistic.
Yeah, and it's not consistent either. Because once you, if you don't have if you don't have a lot of content backing that up, and then you get popular, you kind of haven't built yourself up enough yet to handle the responsibility of being that popular. So if you want to do that yourself, know that success is certain. So if you're not succeeding yet, you're probably not. Your content creating process is probably not certain. Like, every video that you build is another step, is another brick in the house, right? And you gotta build that house before you can live in it.
A lot of the famous people we know on YouTube, and it's like including Joe Rogan and even Ellen DeGeneres, it was 7 to 10 years until they popped off. They
long
built
time.
it. Even Gary Vee. Gary Vee did years and years of wine content before he popped off. It's insane. And honestly, to become monetized on YouTube, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch time hours within that year. And honestly, realistically, it takes some time and effort to collect 1,000 of anything. If you think about it, it takes time and effort to collect 1,000 of literally anything, right? Money, anything, marbles off the floor, playing cards, to collect rocks. It takes a long time and some effort. So if you're thinking about how, convincing people on the internet to follow you, it's going to take a while. And so when people complain about not getting to the prereqs to get monetized, and I look at their channel and they've posted 10 videos in the last 6 months, it's like, what are you doing?
Right.
You're not treating this like it's life or death. You're not treating this like you want to succeed.
Well, and you're not treating it like you have to succeed. That's the thing, is in any avenue of producing something, right? If you are choosing to start a business, if you're choosing to do art, if you're choosing to produce anything, the option of failure can exist. You can't give yourself that option. It's gotta work. You're going to have low points. Sure, you're going to have moments where it feels like, oh man, I don't know what I'm doing. There's no way I can do this. But it's true. You got to keep pushing. You just put out another video, do something else or something more, because eventually it will pay off. Yeah.
A lot of people ask, should I do this or this? They want to choose either one, and it's just do and.
Yeah.
Turn that or into an and.
Yeah.
Just do both. Because
If you
usually
think-
that's
If you think both are good, go do both.
right. Why are you choosing?
You don't have to limit yourself on content creation. And like people are sort of worried about imposter syndrome as well.
Right.
I get that.
You just get hung
If you
up.
don't want to just like copy another person's video, but I think people who watch YouTube will, or videos in general, will agree with me that you're not going to watch it just because it's a tutorial.
Right.
You're going to watch it because regardless of if you're just buying beans or just watching a video or buying a shirt or anything, in some small way, you're still buying into the company and into the parasocial relationship that has.
Right.
You're still supporting that brand, and in your brain, you're like, oh, I'm supporting these people. I like
Right.
these people. I want to see more from them. So it doesn't matter, like, if there's a million how-to roast videos or a million how to do a proper tamp, a million how to make a perfect cappuccino or whatever. You're going to watch the one that you like.
Yeah, everyone's going to do it a little different. So, yeah, I mean, this has turned into, like, if you want to succeed on YouTube podcast. But basically, we're trying to succeed on YouTube here on the Aleuth channel. But yeah, so basically, our goal is to get this YouTube channel to monetized, or to the point that it gets monetized, and then use it as kind of like, some background funding. Each month we'll get some AdSense money, and we use that to grow the company. But that's going to take a while, and we know that.
Yeah.
It might take 6 months, it might take a year, depending on how much we post.
That's the average timeline on YouTube success, right? 6
Right.
months.
I think it's a year.
Is it a full year?
Yeah, it's a full year. 6 months is like fast.
Oh, okay.
So I think 6 months is like you're posting 2 or 3 times a week,
Gotcha.
and you're doing like top-notch content.
Right.
Yeah, unless like
Premium viewer engagement.
Yeah.
You've got great topics. Your titles and thumbnails are all perfect.
Right. So doing top-notch content, 6 months is quick. Some people, it's all about personality too. Like if you look at someone like Emma Chamberlain, she had like a really, really awesome personality. So she popped off in a summer, right? But if you look at someone like Mr. Beast, who wasn't born with that charisma, it took him 7 years or something.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it was like years and years before a single video of his broke 1,000 views. Like, it's something astonishing. And then he finally like broke the formula and like kind of followed like some sort of format that worked after like doing video after video after video, and then he found something that worked and then kind of popped off. But it like kind of like the Joe Rogan thing, 7 to 10 years, right? With Mr. Beast, he's like the biggest YouTuber right now, and it took him forever to figure it out. So people can't get discouraged. Like look at Casey Neistat.
2 big P's. You need persistence and personality.
Right. If you look at some interviews with Mr. Beast on content creation, he says to practice your intonation and your inflection, because there's certain things that people are more engaged to listen to. So just imagine like a high school teacher that you were inspired by because they were passionate about what they were teaching, kind of talking in that kind of cadence.
Right.
And people love that shit. So he actually had to learn that as a skill, because him and his friends, they were kind of just cardboard. They weren't really entertaining, and they had to learn how to be. And on the other side of that,
Figure out how to be entertaining offhand.
yeah, Emma Chamberlain was just entertaining off the bat. Right? And there's other people who have been on the platform for a lot shorter than Mr. Beast, and have popped off. But it's because people like their personality. I brought up another example. I forgot already. But that's okay. Anyways, it's something like that. We just have to I keep grinding, keep posting.
Keep grinding. Hey, you all at home, you heard that. Keep grinding.
That's right. Grind your coffee. Grind it
Grind
consistently. If you don't grind your coffee consistently, coffee snobs will tell you it tastes bad, but I'm telling you now, coffee is coffee, and if you brew it, it'll taste like coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. There's the thing I think and this is gonna show how I'm gonna show my coffee poserness here because I only worked for a small time at the coffee shop.
Before we go on, I'm being cringe normie right now. I'm drinking Monster Rehab instead of coffee today. So I'm gonna correct that later, but
Chemical
anyways.
caffeine.
Yeah.
Gross.
It's got taurine in it, whatever that means.
What I was gonna say is I think the grind is all just about consistency, like the texture of the drink afterwards. It's like volume. I think that might be completely wrong, and somebody's gonna flame me for it. But I think at the end of the day, it's just pretty much like how smooth it is going down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess with the consistent grind, I guess it would, like, speaking scientifically, like chemistry-wise, it would saturate the water more as you brew it.
Right.
Right? So you get, like, kind of a more rich coffee if you grind it well. That makes sense.
Well, and also, so when I usually think in espresso terms because that was all the drinks that we did. So when you tamp it down and you make it on the puck, and it's supposed to sift through all of that, and then leave. So like that first bit of coffee comes down, and then you have the crema, which is the sort of soak that also comes down afterwards. So based on the grind and stuff, the amount of time that the water takes to sift through the puck to then get to the espresso determines a lot about how it's going to taste and the smoothness of it. Like, for example, when at the GOAT, 20 seconds to a standard like dark roast shot comes out smooth, dark, bold, voluminous, fantastic. Over 30 seconds, it is bitter, trashy, acidic water. It's like burns your throat going down. And like looking at the two, both of them have a lot of crema, which is that sort of foamy, like orangish stuff on the top. Yeah. Yeah. This is the head of your espresso. It'll look the same, but that first taste and even just smelling it, it'll be acrid and nasty.
The shitty part about coffee is it's allergic to air.
Yeah.
It oxidizes so quick.
Mm-hmm.
So if you leave it out without keeping it airtight, it'll stale. Even like fresh off the roast, you want it to exhaust for like 3 days before you drink it. So like, honestly, those Brazilian beans that we roasted, I was just munching on some. They tasted so much better. Like I munched on some like the other day, and tragically I bumped into the whole bowl and it fell on the floor. Oh. And so I had to sweep it all up. But I was happy to like munch on some before I completely demolished that shit. And it was way better, even just eating it. So we didn't get to taste it like after it's expelled all of its gases. But it's okay.
All of its inner essence.
Yeah. But anyways, so there's another piece of advice. We need to plan out videos to explain a lot of this stuff, like separate videos, But
you'll get the rough gist of it in our offhands.
Yeah.
As time goes on, I'm sure you guys will figure it out more.
We've got 43 minutes on the clock. Do you want to?
Oh yeah, we do. Wow.
Want to wrap it up?
We filled that out real fast.
That's how we do.
Well, that was awesome. Yeah, well, thank you all so much to everybody listening. We hope to see you all come by in the next one. I'm just happy to be doing this at all. I'm super happy to be part of the Aloof team. Come watch our stuff. Come check us out. Come check out more of the podcasts. We'll be distributing through Anchor, so it should be up on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music.
We're working on the Apple Music.
Yeah.
Got to get an Apple Music account, which requires us to put in a pay method, which is bullshit because we don't have to pay for anything. But it wants us to put in some sort of credit card, so we'll figure that out. But right now, we're on Spotify and YouTube. YouTube, you'll get the video format. Right now, we're going super guerrilla style and recording on like a webcam, but we'll figure it out. Riley will figure it out. He's the producer now. So everyone get used to this face because he is the head of the podcast. now. So you'll be lucky to see other people part of the team, maybe Hayden, maybe me, maybe Riley, maybe even Draken. We have a few people who are on. We might even do some video chat formats just because everyone's kind of, spread out around the world. But yeah, this is the podcast now. Moving forward, creative liberties go to this man right here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so glad you guys jumped on in, and hope we see you next time. Thanks for listening.
You want to plug in the Instagram handles real fast?
Just at Aluth Coffee, I think.
All right.
I think it's at Aluth Coffee. If it's not, it's just at Aluth. But
Okay.
I think it's at Aluth Coffee.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Super professional.
No, it's good. Yeah, thank you all so much, and we hope to see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.